from New York, Joan Rivers.
A really big show this morning. After a 10-year pact of silence, she is ready to dish, and I mean down and dirty dishing about her ex. Today, for the first time, Angela Bowie will tell what life with rock star David Bowie was really like. Also, in the last of our Who Can You Trust series, the ultimate betrayal. The betrayal of a child, little Lisa Steinberg, and a birth mother who learned the hard way about the dark side of adoptions. Plus, radio talk shows, sock it to him bad boy, Howard Stern, who I just adore. Oh! To round it all up, Nashville's favorite Brooklyn-born son, country music star Eddie Rabbitt. It's a big show, so stay right where you are, okay? Okay. All week long, we've been discussing betrayal in our series, Who Can You Trust? Today, we're going to discuss the worst kind of betrayal, the betrayal of a child. Many of you remember the Lisa Steinberg case in New York City. Joel Steinberg and his common-law wife, Hedda Nussbaum, illegally adopted 2 young children who ended up the victims of neglect and abuse. 6-year-old Lisa died at Steinberg's hands, and he was sent to jail for her death. Nussbaum, herself beaten by Steinberg, was not prosecuted. In her current book, What Lisa Knew, and it's excerpted in this April issue of Fame magazine, contributing writer Joyce Johnson says that Nussbaum was not the victim she claimed to be. She says that Nussbaum owed the children her protection and that she, as well as Steinberg, betrayed the children as responsible for their fate. Will you please welcome Joyce Johnson? How nice to have you on. Why did you decide that Hedda Nussbaum was not a victim? We all see her as a victim, that she really was a betrayer.
Well, I see her as a victim and a victimizer, and I think when those two things join together, it's sometimes hard for people to make moral judgments about what someone should have done in a certain situation. My own feeling is children come first. I feel very strongly about it. That's why I wrote this book. I feel that children should be protected. There is nobody easier to betray than a child. A small child doesn't even know that it has rights. It can't even conceive of escape. If a child is abused in the name of punishment, the child feels that the child is in the wrong and not the parent. Society allows families a free hand with young children because the family is, the privacy of the family is so protected. And our various agencies do not intervene very effectively to rescue children from bad situations. And because children are so vulnerable and so unprotected, and because children, unlike adults, have no options whatsoever, we have to say children come first.
But now sometimes you can't do that. I know you were on a program with Gloria Steinem.
That's right, that's right.
And she said battered women just cannot they haven't got the strength to control themselves, to worry about the children.
You know, it's very, very dangerous to make generalizations about everything. I think I admire and respect Gloria Steinem. I don't think she looked really carefully at the facts of this case. She and other women made a political decision to stand behind Hedda Nussbaum. But, you know, there's Hedda Nussbaum who did nothing to protect Lisa Steinberg, but there are also thousands and thousands of battered women who, at the moment in their house that the violence turned against those children, those women would turn themselves around and say, it's time to get out, and they would run and take their kids with them. Women who had much less in the way of options than Hedda Nussbaum, women who had no money, no skills, no family or friends to turn to. They'd even take their children into homeless shelters, but they would get out to save those kids. And I'd like to think that that behavior was also typical of battered women.
Let me ask you, do you think possibly one of the causes for this terrible tragedy is because it wasn't a legal adoption?
I think
it was all done through lawyers and people knew somebody that knew somebody.
Joan, adoption is not the word for the way these children were acquired. You could say that this was a kidnapping. This had nothing to do with adoption. This was a kidnapping, and the other victims in the case were the natural mothers who were deceived by professionals. That's another thing. This
So
case
again, betrayal.
Again, betrayal, because people put their faith in professionals, in doctors and lawyers. When do we go to doctors and lawyers? When we're in a state of crisis and trouble. We need an expert's help. We want to believe what these people tell us. And over again, not only Steinberg and his associates, in each case it was a doctor who was a personal friend and associate who helped him procure a child, but over and over again women have been victimized by doctors and lawyers who have made them sign papers. You know, what usually happens is a woman has a child, an unwed mother, an unscrupulous lawyer hoping to sort of arrange for a black market adoption will give this young woman a relinquishment form and say, sign here, this is all you need to do, your troubles are over. She doesn't know that the adoption cannot be legal until there's a hearing in family court and that the birth mother has to be notified. But who's an expert in these matters? Certainly not very, very young women.
So they trust the doctor who is just...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We'll be right back. When we come back, we're going to meet some women who will tell us how and why children like Lisa end up as victims. So don't go anywhere.